What is up, you guys, and welcome back to another episode of Nerdy Tavern, where nerds, drink enthusiasts, and fandom enthusiasts get together to make inspired drinks. Now, my page blew up because of one fandom in particular to start. And as you can tell from my bar, you might recognize some of these characters as Funkos. You might recognize the Angel Blade. Or you might recognize the Salt Round, or the license plate. Whichever you recognize, we're talking about Supernatural. Now, much like with earlier this week, we did a Fallout reimagining of my recipe for Nuka-Cola Orange, and now we're going to be reimagining original recipes that I did for Supernatural. And what better way to start this series out than to talk about the moment that started it all, the trauma that horrified Sam and Dean, John, even Bobby Singer. The death of Mary Winchester. Now, if you saw my original recipe, either on TikTok, Instagram, or you can find it here on YouTube as well, you'll know I have a sick sense of humor, and I thought, what better way to do a Mary Winchester drink than to make it flaming, just like her signature moment in the pilot. So I do want to keep that sick and twisted energy, because that's my signature humor. Let's run with it. So let's talk about the ingredients you're going to need for this recipe. Now, what are you going to need as your first ingredient? She's American born and raised, so what better ingredient to use, especially because she's a hunter, than bourbon. Now, personally, got Larceny small batch straight bourbon whiskey. Use whatever bourbon you want. I just really like the way this one tastes, so that's what I'm going to go with. Now, in my original recipe, I used honey syrup to sweeten it up a little bit because I always thought of her as a sweet character. But instead of honey syrup, let's go with honey liqueur. Now, I've got Irish Mist. Again, you could pick another brand if you want, like Baron Jaeger, but I like the Irish Mist, so let's go with that. Now, our next ingredient, gonna offset the sweetness here. We want half a lemon. We're going to squeeze that, again, like I said in my previous video, I prefer fresh lemon juice and fresh lime juice in my drinks. You don't have to use it, but personally, I prefer the way it tastes. I'm going to be honest, I had my recipe written down. I thought I had it memorized. So I went a little out of order, because normally I want to try to list all the liquors first before the mixers. Got a little ahead of myself. Forgot. I want to go with peach schnapps to complement it, because I did originally have peach schnapps and honey syrup in my original recipe. Our next ingredient is white peach juice. Now, I have Calpico white peach, especially because of the color. It's bright white. Other white peaches that I've seen are, faint orangey, not quite white, but this is bright white. You can get this at like World Market, or if you have an Asian market, you can get it there. So I like it for the bright white color, because we want to emulate that white nightgown that she was wearing in the pilot right before old Yellow Eyes stuck her to the ceiling. Now, you would think that's a wide variety. Are we done? No. I've got to shake it up because it was separated a little bit in the bottle, but that's just because it sits. But I love this. We've got Liquid Alchemist Orgeat. You would think, are we done? But wait, there's more, just like a freaking infomercial. For that flaming layer, you're gonna need either overproof rum or 151 proof rum. Now, over on my TikTok and on my Instagram, I've gotten a lot of comments every time I've used 151 proof rum in my videos. So I'm going to clarify this now so I don't get it here on my YouTube as well. They do still make 151 proof rum. The one that they discontinued making was Bacardi. Other brands do make it. So as you can see, I've got Don Q 151 proof rum. Don't worry, that is all the ingredients that you're going to need. So let's get to mixing. Now, Supernatural. I have been into Supernatural since I was in high school. First watched it, I believe, when I was, I want to say 14, 15. So, for the bourbon, before I continue that, we're going to do 1.5 ounces. But, so, I was a big Supernatural fan from the moment I first watched it. I really connected with Dean because I was into classic rock, like Black Sabbath, AC/DC, Metallica. You know, I love rock. So I really connected with him, fell in love with the Impala, and I'm constantly wearing flannels. I like to layer. So I really connected with him right off the bat. Peach schnapps, we're going to do 3/4 ounce. But this video is not about Dean. This video is about Mary. I won't lie. I'm sure a lot of us, as Supernatural fans, were not expecting that pilot episode with her being pinned to the ceiling and the blood dripping and the flames and John screaming, "Get your brother out of the house, Dean! Go, Dean, now!" 1/2 ounce of honey liqueur. We don't want a lot of it because we don't want it to be extremely sweet. Funny enough, I remember when I first started watching it, I'm watching the pilot episode, my dad walked into my room right when John touches the blood on Sammy's pillow and looks up and sees her pinned to the ceiling. And guidelines? I can't repeat what he said, but he was shocked, to say the least. Now, we're going to do 2 ounces of the white peach juice. Now, it is a mostly white color, but it does have a yellowish tint because of the honey liqueur. That's why we're bringing in the orgeat. Hopefully, to lighten it back up a little bit. We don't want a whole lot of that, though, of course, because, again, the sweetness. So we're only going to do 1/2 ounce of that. Let's squeeze the lemon into the jig. Because that was something I didn't think about in my last video. I fully admit that. I told you 1/2 a lemon. I didn't tell you exactly how much it was, and I should have. Get all of that in there. So it's 3/4 ounce of lemon juice. Of course, you don't want this to be extremely sour. We're gonna reach into our bar, magically pull out some ice, kind of like how Sam always magically seems to have freaking Wi-Fi. Oop. It's a little stuck. Come on now. Who minds a little finger-flavored ice? Alright, where's the shaker lid? Doesn't spin as well as a Boston shaker like I use at work because there's not as much to grab, but now we're going to want to get a short glass, like a rocks glass, because of course she's a hunter. She doesn't want a fancy glass. And pop your strainer on. I was going to say double strain. I forgot about that. That is my bad. So I spilled a little bit. But accidents happen. You know, happy little accidents, like Bob Ross says. Now we're going to want to do the 151 float on the surface. We're not actually going to measure how much 151 proof rum, because you just want a nice layer on the surface, pour it over the back of the bar spoon. I almost forgot. There's an optional ingredient, mostly for those with a sick sense of humor like me, twisted. There's an ingredient you can do mostly for effect, not so much for flavor. Dripping in blood orange syrup from above, like her blood dripping from the ceiling. So let's just do a little dollop of that. And drip that in there. Now it's got a bloody look to it. Fire. And if you want the flames really to pop, like already they look good, but really want them to pop on camera, a little pinch of cinnamon dust, throw it on the flames. Love that effect. Now before this drink gets too hot, there are a couple different ways you can extinguish a flame. The easiest way, set another glass over it, smother the flames. Now you want to make sure it's a thick glass. You could also turn a glass over. If you have a glass that's larger, turn it over the top. Just kill the flames. Now, let's try this. Damn! Okay, so it's not for the faint of heart. It is strong. It's gonna hit you just like that opening moment hits you like, what just happened? And hits you as hard as wanting to get on the road with your brother and your dad. Go avenge her. You get a caramelized, kind of smoky flavor almost from igniting that 151 on the surface. It is a little sharp, and the sweetness is there, of course, because you got honey and two different kinds of peach in there. But I can't think of a better way to sit and start Supernatural all over again. Thanks for watching, and make sure to stay tuned. I've got more Supernatural drinks coming. I've got The Witcher coming, more Fallout for Fallout Season 2 coming out in 2 weeks. So make sure to hit that like, subscribe, and that bell notification. Thanks for watching.